welcome to Monday Madness, the show where we use unorthodox strategies and we try to make them as successful as possible. As you may have figured by that intro, this week we are taking a look at the unique unit of the Burgundians, the Coustillier. The Coustillier is a fast-moving cavalry unit similar to a knight except for the unique charging ability. This ability allows him to deal huge amounts of damage, but it has a cooldown. Without their charging ability, they are pretty average. I'll let the games speak for themselves, and at the end you can decide for yourself how you feel about this unit. Now, let's get into some games. In the first game, I'm playing on Arabia and I'm up against the Britons. I open with scouts, but these accomplish very little because my opponent is walled and going fast castle. He's raiding my woodline with crossbowmen and I'm starting to feel the heat, so I double down on the walls. Luckily, I get my castle up just in time as he's through the walls, and this stops him dead in his tracks. I start massing the Coustillier and get husbandry and +2. I take down his forward siege workshop, but unsure if I can win this fight against his army of crossbowmen and pikes, I decide to instead cut off his reinforcements and potentially raid his base instead, since I'm feeling pretty safe at home with my castle. I run through his base and I'm one-shotting absolutely everything in my path and dealing a big blow to his economy. I then see that he's moved home his pikemen to defend, while his crossbows are still in my base attempting to counterattack, so I decide to move home and focus all of my army on his divided and very lonely force of crossbows. By the time the Coustillier reaches crossbows, they recharge their charge ability and make really short work of the crossbows, losing only one Coustillier to his 20 crossbows. Shortly after that, he resigns out of pure frustration. In the post-game, he states that he thinks that this unit is rather broken, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. Either way, it's a win for the Coustillier. In the second game, I'm once again playing on Arabia, but this time I'm playing against the Ethiopians. My opponent opens men-at-arms and I open scouts. We both deal damage to each other in the feudal age, but overall we reach castle age on similar villager numbers. The biggest difference here is that he can produce crossbows a hell of a lot faster from 3 ranges than I can produce Coustillier from my one and very expensive castle. He's also had the whole of feudal age on him to produce archers, so it's only natural that he has a massive numerical advantage. I do have +2 and husbandry again, and in the blink of an eye I kill a third of his army, but after my charges are spent I get completely destroyed by the fast firing Ethiopian crossbowmen. You can make a case for that I should have ran away and recharged my Coustillier, but in this situation where I have 30 Ethiopian crossbowmen in the heart of my economy, I doubt that I would have had much of an economy left after those 40 seconds it takes to recharge the Coustillier. I could have potentially added some knights with siege to this army as well, but that would have been cheating. In game number 3, it's once again Arabia, and this time we're against the Huns. We both open scouts and suffer around equal losses and reach castle age with very similar times. My opponent this time around trains cavalry archers instead of crossbows, but this is actually quite a lot better for me. Even though cavalry archers are stronger, they still only require 1 hit from the Coustillier, so for me it essentially just means less units to deal with. I easily overrun his army, and once a monk starts a conversion I notice that one of my Coustilliers still has a charge on him, and he runs over and immediately silences the monk. This time I'm not under any direct threat to my eco, so I can safely recharge my Coustillier before running in a second time. Once again, I'm one-hitting everything in my way, but my opponent has had enough, and doesn't even let me get the satisfaction of destroying his army. This guy also stated in the post-game chat that he was displeased at the balance of the unit and he wished me luck in the future in farming points. Once again, I didn't necessarily disagree with this opinion. In the last game, we're watching 2 legends. We're watching Lfish and Leyl. This game was played live on Lfish's stream, and I will link you the VOD to the game in the description of this video should you want to go and watch it for yourself. The matchup is Burgundians versus Japanese, and Lfish opens up with a lot of pressure. Leyl defends with castles and Coustillier and just about manages to stay afloat. He goes for a counterattack and he does kill a fair few villagers, but loses the bulk of his army in the process. The Imperial Age comes around, and Leyl now has a large force of Coustillier and cleans up Lfish's forward, so much so that he can finally start collecting gold again. But his triumph is short-lived, when Lfish comes in with an even larger force of halberdiers and trebuchets. Leyl's Coustillier easily beat them one-on-one, but outnumbered, they don't stand a chance. They're more expensive and have to be produced from castles, and when Leyl is at the same time losing said castles, he doesn't see the point of continued struggle. Very interesting to see a longer duration of the Coustillier spam. Maybe Leyl could have made something work here if he had taken into Flemish Revolution, but maybe that's a case for another video, and in this case it would have certainly been considered cheating. But thank you for your contribution, Leyl. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Monday Madness. If you haven't already, feel free to give this video a like and consider subscribing not to miss out on future videos. In the description of this video, you will find the links to my social media where I will be posting when the next video is uploaded. Should you like to take part in the next video, feel free to join my Discord where I will be posting the next week's strategy. Bye for now and have a nice rest of your week.